This is the Music City crits. This is Music City crit number 9 from 2022. This was my first crit back from the hand injury. Also my last crit of the 2022 season. Of course, I told myself I was just going to sit in for the first 15-20 minutes, and that would have been wise, except that, okay, notice the guy in the fluorescent yellow socks right there. A lot of kits that look like red up top and black on bottom. That's actually red and blue. That's Butcher Box. That is Corey Lockwood, who was on Legion a couple of years ago. He was on Semper Poro before that. He has won Redlands crit before. And an extremely heavy hitter for a weeknight crit like this. So this is like the Wednesday night crit series in Nashville, Tennessee. It takes place on this NASCAR track. This is not like a NASCAR track. This is a track that a lot of the NASCAR guys learn on. It's like just sub-level NASCAR, like minor league NASCAR, basically. They do take us through the pit row right here, and then we do this chicane to get out of the pit row and back onto the track. And then you can see there's like the banking up here. So it's a little bit like a velodrome. But I mentioned Corey Lockwood because, so I clocked that there was a guy in a Butcher Box kit as I was getting set up for this race. And Butcher Box is a national level team. He appeared to actually have all of the gear, not just be somebody who was rocking a pro kit, but he has the team bike and everything. Wasn't sure exactly who it was, but Zach. So it's myself and Zach from Skyway Domestique in this race. We clocked that there was a Butcher Box guy here, put an eye on him, and then on the start line, they're calling out names. As they do, they call Corey Lockwood. We both look at each other knowing that this is a dude with serious palmares. He could certainly lap up at this race. And he's wearing a set of Aero socks that are probably too high to be UCI legal and super ugly with his kit. Don't match at all. Which to me what that says is that he wants to go for a long one. So immediately my plan to just kind of sit in the field and get my bearings is out the window. And I see Lockwood going across to a move that also has someone from Nashville Local in it. So Nashville Local is the team that does the American Crit Cup races. You've probably seen them on my streams, watching those over on the YouTube channel. And they have like probably 6 or 7 guys in this race. I think we've got about 40 to 50 on the start line. This is a 1-2-3 field. A lot of good solid 1s and 2s though. Very strong field. And then, you know, a couple of national level riders like Corey there. The guy with the GoPro on his head, a couple of wheels up from me, that's Mika Lee. He's got a YouTube channel where he just posts the raw GoPro footage from a lot of these races. He has a really good one from US Crit Nats. Things settle down right here, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get straight onto Lockwood's wheel, because I think that, okay, the ingredients I'm looking for early on are someone from Nashville Local. So we got a Nashville Local rider right here, red and black kit, that kit right there, and Lockwood. If a move has got someone from Nashville Local and Lockwood, that's the biggest engine in the field and the biggest team in the field. I'm going to follow that. I am letting myself slide a little farther back here because you can see Zach far left there, same jersey as me, all the way over to the left. Zach's moving up a little bit so I can move back a touch. We basically don't want to have someone out of position. It's too early for something to go, really, and maybe we should have listened to our plan from the jump and not just gone ballistic from the gun. You know, with Lockwood in the mix, that's a single rider who is so much, the level is so different that it really changes the calculus. If this had all been sort of local guys, they're leaving the inside open here. I'm only doing like a few hundred watts. Okay, now I put in a bigger dig because I see Lockwood start to move. up to a move that has 700 watts for a second there. I'm seeing Lockwood move up to a move that has Nashville local represented. So I'm just going to stick on this wheel. So I guess I'll talk course for a second. I mean, you can see the shape of the course right here. Basically, as we round this corner, we're kind of hitting a headwind through this section. It's pretty much like straight headwind coming into this corner. And it is a tailwind on the biggest, longest straightaway. So these guys are trying to really string it out here. I want to say one of us, maybe all of us, kind of takes a glance back here and realizes this is truly single file. And it's like, it looks like this all the way around. It's one rider, probably half a bike length, another rider. So I'm just going to stick Lockwood right here. I'm thinking this is my ticket. Nashville local rider just took a huge full. Lockwood looks back, realizes it's ragged, single file all the way behind, stands up and just rips it. We're doing 30 miles an hour here. Keeps looking back to make sure he's breaking it. And we're snapping the field right here. The elastic is breaking apart. And in my mind, this is exactly what I want. I'm on the wheel of the strongest guy in the race. I'm getting a, not quite a free ride, but certainly a subsidized ride. We're going 30 and I'm tucked in perfectly. Anybody behind who's losing the wheel is truly losing the wheel. Like, they're coming off and we're not going to see them again. Because it is ragged behind us. I wish I had a rear-facing camera here so you could see anyone letting one bike length gap go, it's gone. So Lockwood's coming up on almost 2 laps, just fully on the front. And at this point, I'm like, hey, if he flicks the elbow and tells me to come through, I'm going to come through and do 350, 400 for like a minute. And just keep this moving. Keep us going like high 20s, low 30s miles per hour. Because this could be the move. Like I said, this dude has lapped up at much bigger races than this. Got this Marks Bernsdorf rider. Feeling the pace come out a little bit. He attacks. I'm like, good. You take a rip. Let's go. Okay, look at Corey right here. Looks down, looking around. What you can't see, he's hitting his shifter there. I think his Di2 battery died. He pulls off there, and my hope is that he's going to slot back in behind me. You see I'm only doing like 150 watts right here. I'm kind of looking around, and what I see is I see Lockwood pull off and pull into the pit. So that is not what I want to see after I've committed all of that energy to sticking him. And then I got these 2 riders going up the field, up the road. Neither of them are from Nashville local. So long story short, Lockwood pulls the plug. I'm kind of thinking maybe he'll jump back in the group on the next lap if he's got a flat or something. Okay, that's JP Prim. JP is one of the stronger dudes on Nashville local. Definitely watch him. But 2 guys up the road I'm not worried about right now until there's a Nashville local guy up there with them. So we got 2 off the front right now, but not 2 that I'm super worried about, again, until a Nashville local rider gets up to them. We're still really early in the race. We're still like 10 minutes in. This is technically it's a 60-minute race, although all the races were running a little long, so they cut them all about 5 minutes short. I think this race ended up being 55 minutes total. I'll use this moment to talk a little bit about the course itself, though. It does play a little bit like a track race. Like, you can see this guy, he's way up track there. That's something that happens on the track, is guys will pull way up the track to make people come through and then use the banking, use the downhill, like come straight downhill, come straight down the banking on the downhill, use that momentum to stick back onto the back. It was pretty cool to ride something. It's like a perfect mix of a crit and a track race. So we're within striking distance here. You can see, like I was talking about, guys pulling up the banking. Boom, there goes the attack. So there's 4 guys up the road, 2 from Nashville local, 1 from EVOQ, who used to have a top-level Zwift team, if you remember that. Orange kid up there. So I think 2 guys attack from that group. Yeah, he's also in the UCI illegal aero socks. I was just judging by the fact that I was doing 500 in his draft. Okay, look, we get here, we make contact, and then I think the EVOQ guy up there in the orange, he attacks, and then I think JP attacks and gets across. Okay, there's 2, 3, 4. 3 guys going across to the EVOQ guy. There goes JP. We're all kind of speeding up again. I'm just trying to weld it. Again, I don't think it's going to go this soon. And as long as it's doing this thing where it's like single file and no one's really letting the gap go, I'm just worried about staying up here and staying in the conversation. My thought is I start really covering and really attacking in earnest in the second half. It honestly took me a minute to get back used to, I'd done 1 road race before this, but it took me a minute to get back used to the feel of being in a crit, the constant turning, churn of the pack. So I didn't start feeling like fully comfortable until about 20 minutes in, and we're only about 15 minutes in right now. There are 2 up the road, but they're not far up the road. I can just barely see them. They're going around the corner way up there. So there was a move of more guys. Some of them got shelled, and who is still up there is JP Prim from Nashville and an EVOQ guy. They had 1 more with them, but the 1 more guy they dropped and he came back to the field. And what gets confusing from here on out is we get guys trying to bridge across to that move, and if you're not keeping very solid count, a guy or 2 will get up the road, and if you don't see them, when they come back, you think like, okay, that was the breakaway. But then you can kind of look and see way in the distance a little dot, and then you think, is that the breakaway, or is that a lapped rider? I am at this point thinking that when this move, this 2-guy move that's off the front comes back, then a counter will go, and that will be the move of the day. This is a good one. So I take this turn, I stay farther left than most people have, because you didn't have to swing out that far right to make this corner. And then on this one, I hit the apex, and then I swing out wide to open it up on the right side of me here, let these guys come through. That's a good trick for crits. If you're ever stuck on the front, don't pull off in the middle of a straightaway. A lot of people are just gonna follow behind you if you pull off on a straightaway. If you pull off, if you really just leave the apex open on a corner, everyone in a crit has this like burned into their brain mentality that you gotta go to the apex and take the shortest line around the corner. Someone else is gonna dive bomb you. They're gonna take that inside, and then you're not pulling anymore, they're pulling. Here's Zach. I believe I say something to him right here. I think I tell him to be ready for the counter. Ask him how he's feeling. He says good.
Hey, get ready for the counter when this gets caught.
He said be ready for the counter when this gets brought back. You can see the break up there. 2 guys. 10 seconds up.
Be ready for the counter when this gets caught.
Said it again. I said get ready for the counter when this gets brought back. To Zach right here. Communicating like that in the peloton is huge. It's crazy to me, guys, that like just refuse to talk. Man, we're so close to those 2 guys up there. I think those 2 guys are it for the breakaway. But what's actually going on is there were 3 guys up the road. One of them got dropped. He's in no man's land between those 2 in the field. He's in here. Someone bridged to him, and then those 2 are coming back. But these 2 are still about half a lap up. so they're a little farther than what we can see. I think that's what happens here. Watch how much time I get back in this corner. I'm staying way farther left than him. Take this one right to the apex, straighten it out to this one, and boom, I'm back to him. And he's trying to get away. I just took a way straighter line through that corner.
I just pulled him all the way back. Go.
I'm gonna say that was like my one really good move, really good like skill that I honed over the course of this race, was figuring that line out. This guy flicks the elbow. I'm gonna commit, try to get across to those guys and not take anyone with me. 500 watts here. It's looking ragged up ahead. I'm thinking maybe I can just launch across. These guys are not going. Screw you guys, I'm going to the next group around them. And I think this guy in the back sees me and he's like, oh, we're caught. But really there was no one with me. I should have, this was a mistake. When I got to these guys, I had speed. I should have gone to the front, got an arrow right here, and just pegged it at 400 watts. Kept them moving fast, because I think we could have split it there. We got a couple more little stragglers here that we're gonna eat up, but this is not the breakaway. This is just a couple of dudes. I think Nashville is not gonna let that happen, rightfully so. So I see those two dudes up there and think, all right, if I can get into that group, 600, 700 watts, really hard effort there. But once again, I'm hoping I can get up to this little move. We can just keep it rolling and split the field, and then I'll be, you know, top 5, top 10, just rolling to the line in this group. But once again, I get here and they're kind of falling apart a little bit. This last little bit of footage looks a little choppy. You'll see why in just a second. So, okay, Zach is up here. I have this moment of like, awesome, Zach is still here. We've dropped half the field. I'm just gonna stay on Zach's wheel. Tell Zach right here, follow surges, keep us up. Meaning every time it surges, go fast. I'm gonna stay on your wheel. This guy on my left here, don't know why he does this. He pushes me onto the ribbon. We're like shoulder to shoulder. You saw that bumping? That's the ribbon on the edge of the course that basically they use that so that race cars aren't cutting those corners sharper into the grass to straighten them out. So they put those bumps. So this guy right here, gold Olay Sprint with the red fork, even though I was on my teammate's wheel, pushed me, like leaned on me. Only moment like that I had in this race, but had I been in like sound Criterium mind, I would have just leaned back on him and that wouldn't have happened. But again, this is my first one back. I wasn't in like great practice there. So what happened there is my chain going through the pulleys got knocked just slightly off the lower jockey wheel. And I'm not sure if you can hear it. Maybe I'll turn it up for a second here. See if you can hear the, I don't know. Hopefully you heard it, but for the rest of this video, you're hearing a little noise, grinding noise that is, I'm off the jockey wheel. So I'm back on Zach's wheel here. We're in the finale. This is the last like 3 laps, I believe. And I've told Zach, just follow all these surges. I think I maybe put him right here. Yep, I said stick that, stick that. So what I need Zach to do is not let any of these surges get away from us. And I'm gonna stay in his draft this whole time. As long as he is following these surges, it's gonna save my sprint a little bit. I'm not gonna have to think about, am I burning too much of a match by following this? Do I have to try and make someone else follow it? Zach is playing a great teammate role here. I'm coaching him through it a little bit, just yelling at him, telling him what to cover and when to go. But he's this is like perfect, exquisite teamwork right here. We want to stay near the front, but not on the front. Thankfully, this late in the race, almost always someone wants to go really hard. Keep it fast. Couldn't see what that lap card was. I believe it was 3 to go. For 3 to go. We're definitely in the finale. Nashville local guy keeping it. Yeah, telling Zach he's doing a good job just to keep following any surges that go. These guys are moving up track. This guy's accelerating up track and using the banking a little bit. Not a real acceleration though. And after being pushed off Zach's wheel, I'm pretty much not going to let that happen again. So I'm pushing these guys around. All right, there's Preston. We're going to go to this camera in just a second. Preston was nice enough to give me his footage from the last. Okay, this is going to be 1 to go. All right, there's me in the middle. We're on Preston's footage now. This is the last half of 2 to go. That's me in the blue helmet, wearing the kit I'm wearing right now, leaning into this corner. Okay, so Preston in front of me. Done battle with Preston many times. He's probably the fastest guy in North Alabama in the Huntsville crits. 1 to go. Here we go. Immediately yell at Zach to step on it. When a surge like that goes, you can't wait at all. Stay on it, stay on it. If you hesitate at all, you're going to get shuffled back, and on the last lap, it's so hard to make up positions. But I knew that Preston is a really good sprinter. He knows this race really well. So I'm kind of looking for Preston to carry me to the finish. And, okay, watch the Preston cam. He's lighting it up. He comes past me, jump on his wheel, cranking it up 700 watts, lost my chain. Chain jumped off because of the jockey wheel. Losing Preston, chain's back on. I'm pedaling again, but I lost about 5 wheels. And that's kind of getting around this guy, slowing down. Past the guy in black, sprint past this guy in front of me, but I'm just running out of road. This is a really short sprint to the finish. Almost 900 watts. That's 8th place. But Preston won that field sprint. So I was 8th place. There's Preston right there. I think had my chain not jumped off at that moment when it did, I could have held Preston's wheel, and if I just held his wheel, that would have been a wide angle podium 5th. Maybe could have gotten around him for 4th if I got the inside of that last corner. That's what I was looking for, but really good race for my first crit back after the broken hand. Not too bad nerves wise. Really nice to get through one with no major incidences. Anyway, so I've just been spinning easy on the trainer while I'm doing this. I might chop it up and put it on YouTube, so if you're watching this on YouTube, that's what's going on. Don't be confused. This is race footage from before. I'm just spinning as I watch it, because there's only so many hours in the day. But this was a super fun race. Really glad I got to get this one in before the end of the season. But now this training, it's time to get ready for cyclocross. Time to get ready for Echelon Racing League. Yeah,